All right, so welcome to week 5. We're going to be covering the sun salutations today. And this particular style of sun salutations is known as the Classical Sun Salutation. So it's about 12 position sequence that we're going to be doing. And it's going to be repeating some of the poses throughout this 12 position sequence. So we're not going to be learning a whole 12 new postures, but we're going to be learning probably closer to about 7 of them, and then incorporating the transitions through those, which is a little bit more on the challenging portion of this. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off in our child's pose. So if you need your towel for your child's pose for your knees, you can place that along the edge of your mat so it's perpendicular to the long edge of your mat. And I want you to bring your head down to the ground with your hips all the way back on top of your heels. And as you start to get settled into your body, onto the mat, and into your breath, I want you to see if you can start to find the breath in low back and letting that breath travel up to the mid back. So this is a spot right above the kidneys where we get into the adrenals, and sometimes we can get into those adrenals, especially with all that fatigue that we might be experiencing from all of the stress that we're going through in our lives. So it's good to just breathe into that area. And then let the breath climb up to the space between the shoulder blades and see if you can move the shoulder blades with your breath. The shoulder blades might be able to glide along the back. And this might be subtle or a more dramatic feeling, depending on your lung capacity and any tension that you might be holding in your upper back. And then letting that breath travel up to the brainstem. So just at the top of the neck, right where the head and the neck meet, we have our cortex that becomes the channel between our head, our mind, and our body. And sometimes this area gets rather congested, clogged up with information. So just imagining that you are clearing that area with your breath. Now, if your arms are down by your sides, extend them out in front of you. And then lifting the head up just enough so that you can walk the hands over to the right. Stay low, reaching long to the fingertips. Draw the head back down in between your arms and then lean into your left side waist, feeling those left ribs opening up. And then walking the hands back in through center and across to the left. Breathing into your right ribs, opening up through that side waist. Excellent. Let's walk the hands back in through center and rise up onto all fours, coming into a tabletop position. So your fingers are spread out wide, hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your pelvis. Go through some cat-cows, inhaling right into your cow. Belly comes down, the tail and crown lift up, shine your heart forward, and then exhale, round the spine into your cat. Pull the navel up and in, let the head drop down. You feel the big stretch in the back side of your body. And then inhale, opening up into your cow. Collarbones spreading wide across the chest. Good. Exhale, round through the spine, pull the navel in, press up through the spine. And then inhale, open up again. Heart comes forward, tail and crown lift up. Once more, exhale, round to the spine, back into your cat. Inhale, open up into your cow. And exhale, round the spine into cat. Pull the navel up and in. Good. Come back to a neutral spine and settle back into your child's pose. Hips all the way back on top of your heels and the forehead comes down to the mat. Good. From here, rise up onto all fours. And we're going to add a little bit more to that sequence. So we're going to go from our cow, inhaling, tail and crown lift up. Exhale, round through the spine, arching the back into your cat shape. Send those hips back, touching your hips down onto your heels. Forehead comes down towards the mat into child's pose. Inhale, transfer the weight forward into hands and knees, coming into your cow pose. Tail and crown lift up. Exhale, round the spine into cat. Pull the navel in, send your hips back, 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 back. And then all the way down onto your heels. Inhale, come forward. Lift the tail and crown up. Exhale, round and curl through the spine. Pull the navel in. Send those hips back. Inhale, come forward into your cow. And from here, I want you to see if you can lean weight forward into your fingertips. So you're bringing your shoulders a little bit more forward. Good, good, good. And then round through the spine as you lean back and send it back into child's pose. So that should feel like a little bit of a stretch in your wrists. Good. Inhale, back up into your cow. And leaning forward. Good. Pressing into your fingertips. Send the weight back. Exhale, round the spine through cat, and then back into child's pose. Good. One more just like that. Inhale, lifting up. Tail and crown. Come back into your cow. Shift that weight forward. Keep spreading through your fingertips. Pressing down. Collarbones wide. Send that weight back. Round through the spine. And draw your navel in as you settle back into child's pose. Take a moment here. Big full breath. Good. Lifting up onto all fours again. This time on all fours. If you happen to have a block, you're going to place it right down between your hands, right where if you have your hands down, your thumbs would actually be framing the wide angle of the block. Okay. If you do not have a block, don't worry about it. Just try to give yourself a mental image of how many inches you are away from the ground. If you do have the block, I want you to bring it to the tallest height. As you can see here, it's a good, I think this is 6 inches or so. All right. So in your cow pose, I want you to inhale, tail and crown lift up. I want you to shift that weight forward, just like we were doing in our cow before. You're going to bend your elbows to the back, so towards your hips. They're going to run along the sides of the body. Tap your chest along the block. Good. So lowering down about 2 inches for those of you without a block. Press down to lift up, and then exhale, round the spine into cat. Pull the navel up and in. Inhale to your cow. Tail and crown lift up. Shift the weight forward. Lean, lean, lean. Good. Bend your elbows back. Tap. Inhale up. Keep that weight going forward as you lift up, and then exhale, round the spine, pulling back into that cat stretch. Good. Inhale, back into your cow, tail and crown lift. Shift the weight forward. Exhale, dip down, tap. Inhale, press to lift up. And then exhale, round the spine, settle all the way back into your child's pose. If that was a lot for your wrist, you can make fists and then make little circles with those wrists. Just working out a little bit of that tension. Good, then rising up onto all fours again. We're gonna go a little bit lower. So if you have your block, you're gonna take it down to the medium height here. If you do not have a block, you're gonna lower down about 4 inches. So you're gonna go down about halfway. It's gonna be intense. Now, keep in mind that you wanna lean the weight forward into your fingertips, not only when you're going down, but also when you're going up. This is going to be key for keeping you in that good push-up position, these yogic push-ups, so that you are not diving down with your elbows. All right, so inhale, lift the tail and crown up, looking up, shifting into that cow pose. Lean the weight forward into your fingertips, bend the elbows back so they graze along the side waist, lower down about 4 inches, and then inhale, push forward to lift up. There we go, nice. Exhale, round the spine into cat. 2 more, inhale, lift up, tail and crown. Cow. Shift the weight forward, exhale, dip down, elbows press to the back of you. Inhale, lean forward to lift up. Exhale, round the spine. Nice, Katie, nice, Savannah. Good, inhale, lifting up, tail and crown. Shift the weight forward, bend your elbows. Inhale, lift up. Good. Exhale, round the spine and settle the hips back into child's pose. Good, another full breath here. And rising up onto all fours. We got another level, yay! So if you do not have a block, you're going all the way down to the ground, okay? Yep. You're gonna lean and aim the center of your chest, your sternum, right between your thumbs. So it's gonna look like this from the ground, okay? So you're here, there, okay. If you do have a block, you can lower it down all the way on its flattest level, or you can just toss it off the side and go sans block. I'm gonna go without the block as well, so I'll be suffering with you guys as well. All right, so we're gonna do 3 rounds of this. Hands directly underneath your shoulders, fingertips spread out. Inhale, lift the tail and crown, lifting up into your cow. Shift that weight forward. Exhale, bend the elbows. Tap your chest and chin to the ground. Lean forward to lift up. Woo! And then exhale, round the spine into your cat. 2 more. Inhale, cow. Shift that weight forward. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Good. Exhale, round the spine into cat. Inhale, last one, best one. Shift the weight forward. Exhale, bend the elbows, tap. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, round the spine. Settle back into your child's pose. Now, for those of you who I could not see, if you are having trouble with pushing up, and what that looks like is if you did not lean your shoulders forward enough, especially as you were trying to come up, if you went down, your elbows most likely would have collapsed to the floor like I was just doing right now, okay? So if you felt like you were doing this, you need to shift your weight forward even more. And then keep that weight forward so you're not leaning back and struggling with that push-up, okay? You see how that was a different position? If I shift my weight forward, dip down. If I keep reaching forward, I'm using a lot of that strength in my upper arms. I know you might be saying, I don't have strength in my upper arms. You will, okay? Do the best that you can. Slowly, it will progress in time, okay? All right. We are all done with our push-ups. Yay, you're welcome. Okay, so now we're going to transition into our next position, which is downward facing dog, also known as down dog. For our downward facing dog, it tends to be the best to come into this position from our extended child's pose because the distance between our feet and our hands in extended child's pose tends to be a really good distance for how far apart our hands and feet need to be in down dog. So we don't need to make too many adjustments. However, it's a good rule of thumb, and some rules are not always applicable to every single person. So do the best that you can to feel whatever you are feeling. If you want to, you can simply just watch this and then we'll practice it together. Otherwise, you can come down into your extended child's pose with the hands out in front of you. And you're going to lift up onto all fours. You'll curl the toes underneath. Lift the hips up and back, back, back. So you want to move your hips back as far as you can go so that your head is in between your arms. In fact, see if you can line up your ears with your arms. So you're leaning your chest back. Some of you may need to be on your tippy toes with a bent knee, tail is high, just like you've got the perkiest tail in the room. And I want you to press your belly back into your thighs. So you're still leaning all of that weight back. Good. From here, you can lower yourself down onto your knees and settle back into child's pose. Hips down onto your heels. Good. So if you happen to have tight calves, tight hamstrings, tight shoulders, these are going to be areas where you're going to feel rather limited in your downward facing dog, okay? With those hamstrings, if you're not able to come into that kind of triangular position with the body, I really do want you to do more of a bent knee position so that you can still keep your spine straight and the weight pulling back. It's that weight pulling back that's going to give us a lot more of that straight spine that's going to feel better, and in time you start to straighten out your legs even more. Okay? All right. So let's try this one more time together. Inhale, come onto your hands and knees. Exhale, curl your toes underneath. Lift the knees up and send your hips way, way back. Okay? You can adjust your feet as you get there. Feet are ideally going to be about hip distance apart, but if today you're feeling a little bit tighter, you can always walk your feet out a little bit wider apart, and that can give you a bit more of that wiggle room, especially in the hamstrings. Okay, for those of you who have the tight hamstrings, I want you to lift up on the tippy toes, bend your knees and bring your belly to your thighs. Good. Press the weight back, almost like you're a slingshot and you're pulling back on that band, getting ready to sling yourself forward. Take another full breath in here. Good. And then lower your knees to the floor, sit back into your child's pose. All right. So feel free to right now, if anything came up while you were practicing that. You can unmute yourself. You can post something in the chat if you decide to communicate that way. Let me know if there were any things that you're like, I don't know if I feel right about this. I still have questions about what this pose should feel like, etc. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. No questions? You guys know all the answers? So you don't know which questions to ask. All right, did any of you feel like your hands were sliding forward when you're in your downward facing dog? If you were that person, okay, hands slipping and sliding along the mat, what I call saucy paws, this is where you might need to use your towel. So you'll stretch it out in its longest fashion across the mat, okay? So very similar to how we had it set up for your knees. And this is where you actually place your hands on top of. So this is the gripping place for your hands, okay, as you go through your practice. So you're not constantly having to wipe your hands off every single time, but your hands just get put onto this mat, on the towel every single time, okay? Anything else that came up? No? All right, you guys are shy. Okay, so we're going to continue on. We're going to go into some down dog again, and then we're going to add in a little bit of plank, okay? So don't worry, we're not going to be holding plank forever. That's for your post test. We're just going to be coming into our plank from our downward facing dog and kind of touching upon it. It's really the transition that I'm looking forward to right now. And that transition is what we're going to be doing later on in our sun salutation. Okay, so let's make our way into our downward facing dog, please. You don't have to every single time come into it from child's pose or extended child's pose, but eventually you'll start to realize that you're kind of in this tabletop position, or the knees are a little bit further back. And then you'll curl the toes under and the hips will reach back. Again, in time, you'll start to know what your down dog feels like. And again, it changes every single time that you come into the posture. So maybe now that you're doing it, you start to feel warmer, looser, more malleable and capable of coming into the posture. So it just depends on each day and each experience, and we come into the pose with that fresh mindset. All right, so from your downward facing dog, I want you to lift up onto your tippy toes. We're going to work into some calf stretches. Exhale, bend your knees, pitch your hips straight up towards the sky so tail is perky, and I really want you to feel that the tail is lifting up like an antenna. Good. Inhale, straighten out the legs, keep your hips up high, weight back. Exhale, lower your heels towards the floor. If you're not feeling much of a stretch here, peel the toes away from the mat so your shins are pressing back. Inhale, lift up onto your tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees, send those hips back still. Inhale, straighten out your legs. Exhale, heels to the floor. Again, for those of you who have the flexibility, peel the toes away from the mat. Heels dig down deep. Inhale, lifting up on the tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, straighten out the legs. And exhale, heels down. And then maybe the toes peel away. Good. Lower your knees to the floor. Take 2 breaths in your child's pose. That might be a lot for you. All right, back into your downward facing dog, please. From your down dog, I want you to lift up onto your tippy toes. Send your shoulders forward so they're stacking above your wrists, and then flatten out the body until you're in plank position. Try not to let the hips sag down, but I want you to feel like your thighs and your core are lifting you. Exhale, send the hips back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, travel the shoulders forward, gripping into your fingertips. Keep those arms pressing down so you feel your chest lifting up. Legs are strong and active. Exhale, sending it back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, forward into your plank. One more time. Good. Nice, Lauren. Nice, Savannah. Good, good, good. Exhale, sending it back, downward facing dog, and take a child's pose. 3 is the magic number apparently today. If you need a wrist release, closing those fists and making little soft circles. We're going to change this up so we're less focusing on the wrists, because I know that's a lot that we just did right now. We will come back to that same transition of downward facing dog into plank later on through our sequencing. All right, so let's come back into our down dog. And from your downward facing dog, I want you to walk your feet forward to your hands. You're moving to the top of the mat. Just look between your thumbs as you go there. You're going to notice that the weight is going to come off of your fingertips, and that's okay. And when your feet come underneath your hips, let the arms hang down with your knees bent and your tail high. You're in standing forward fold, and we kind of touched upon this position last week in our forward fold discussion. Let the head hang down, maybe shake it yes or no. Good. Now I want you to walk your hands onto your thighs and lift your back up until your back is flat like a tabletop, okay? So you're lengthening out through your spine. Crown of your head is going in the opposite direction of your tail. See if you can keep that weight forward in your toes. Keep those legs strong and active. Now this flat back position that we're in right now, we're not doing too much weight with our hands. As you can see, my hands are lightly touching my legs. So I'm not settling my body on my legs, but I'm just lightly keeping my hands here. Pressing my hands into the legs is okay, but I don't want to do too much work there, okay? From here, I'm going to start to slide my hands down, bending my knees, and come back into that standing forward fold. Inhale, lift up to that flat back again. Lifting up, pull the belly button in, chest is forward. Exhale, slide the hands down, bend your knees, and slowly start to fold in half. Inhale, lifting up, flat back once more. And then exhale, fold in half. Inhale, lifting up to your flat back, lifting up that halfway lift. Good. And then stretch your arms out wide into a T, like you're in an airplane. Good. Now coming up with that flat back all the way, reach the hands up towards the sky, lift all the way up until the hands reach overhead. Good. This is called upward hand salute. I want that pelvis to be fully upright so that when we exhale and bring our hands down, we're in mountain pose. Good. Let's play with that again. Inhale, bring the arms up, upward hand salute. Exhale, open the arms out wide into a T. Tip forward to your flat back. You're leaning, leaning, leaning. Good. Hinging from the hips. Now bend your knees, bring your belly to your thighs, let the hands come all the way down to the ground. Inhale, lifting up to that flat back, reaching arms out wide. Come all the way up, upward hand salute, hands reach to the sky. And then exhale, circle the arms wide and down by your side. All right, so that flat back is a position, but as we go through this, we're just gonna pass through that position. We're not gonna stop there, but we use it as a transition, kind of guiding us and giving us how the idea of what we want to focus on as we're moving through the transition between upward hand salute and our forward fold. Okay, so back into your mountain pose, please. Hands down by your sides, fingertips lengthening towards the ground. Good. Feel your calves separate, your inner thighs squeeze, and your navel pulls in towards your spine. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, reaching up into your upward hand salute. Exhale, send the arms out wide, tip forward, hinging from the hips, passing through that flat back, bend your knees, belly touches the thighs, hands towards the ground. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, lifting up through that flat back, hands go wide, reach the arms up to the sky, and exhale, circle the arms wide and by your side. Mountain pose. Again, inhale, circle the arms out and up. Upward hand salute. Exhale, hinge from the hips, tipping down with that flat back all the way until belly comes to the thighs. Head hangs down, the weight is in your toes. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, coming up with that flat back, and reach through the fingertips as you go up. And exhale, circle the arms wide and down by your side. Good. So now we're going to add on a little bit more coming from our standing forward fold into lunge. Okay? Make sure you have plenty of space behind you and you're standing at the top edge of your mat. So you have plenty of space to grow backwards. All right. Hands down by your side. Good. Keep those legs actively working. Inhale. Circle the arms out and up. Upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, hinging from the hips, tipping down through that flat back until belly comes to thighs and standing forward fold. Let the fingertips come down to the ground, to the outsides of your feet. If you need to bend your knees a little bit more to do so, that's okay, but try to keep your hips up high. Step your right foot back into lunge. You're taking it back as far as you can go. You're balancing on the ball of your right foot and keeping your left knee directly under, the left knee on top of your left ankle. Hips sink down and chest lengthens forward. Good, this is our lunge. I want you to keep that right leg actively working and reaching up towards the sky. Yeah, that should feel like a good stretch, yes? Good. Now step your right foot back to the front edge of the mat, right where it came from. Standing forward fold. Good, inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up. Inhaling to your upward hand salute. And then exhale, circle the arms wide and down by your side. Mountain pose. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, tip down all the way until belly comes to the thighs, head drops down. Inhale, step the left foot back into lunge. Hips down, chest lift. Good. So right knee is on top of right ankle. Ladies, what I like to do is kind of have the breast along the inside of the knee and the right arm to the outside of the knee. So your knee is right in the middle of that so you don't feel like you're smashing anything there, any delicate tissue. Good. Looking up. Good. And then exhale, left foot steps forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, reaching tall, upward hand salute. Exhale, arms down by your side, mountain pose. Good, let's do it again. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward, hinging from your hips, let the fingertips come down. Inhale, right foot steps back into lunge. Good, hips down, chest lift, looking up, smile. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, lift up. Hands to the sky. And exhale, arms down by your sides, mountain pose. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, left foot steps back, lunge. Nice, looking up, keeping that back leg strong. Exhale, left foot steps forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Upward hand salute. And exhale, arms circled down by your sides, mountain pose. Okay, so now we're gonna go from our lunge into downward facing dog, okay? It's a lot easier than it sounds. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, upward hand salute. Exhale, hinge forward, taking it down till hands touch the ground. Inhale, right foot steps back into lunge. Looking up, smiling. And then exhale, left foot steps back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Adjusting your feet as necessary. Okay, so this transition from downward facing dog back into lunge is a little bit trickier. You want to create as much space underneath your body, between your body and the mat as possible, okay? Lift up onto your tippy toes. Bring your shoulders forward, so you're rounding your spine a little bit. Now step your right foot between your thumbs. Good. If it doesn't make it there all the way on its own, and it depends on how far you are apart from the top of the mat. If your foot is just a little bit far back, you can toe scooch, okay? I don't know if you can see the toe scooch, right? It's like a little inchworm there. Okay, so it's not that far of a distance, you can do the toe scooch. If it is pretty far back, where you're like about halfway there. Grab a hold of your ankle with your right hand and hop it forward, okay? In time, you'll get the flexibility and the strength to be able to get that foot all the way forward. All right, step the left foot forward to meet the right, standing forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms wide and high, upward hand salute. Exhale, mountain pose, arms down by your side. Inhale, lifting the arms up, upward hand salute. Exhale, standing forward fold, hands to the ground. Inhale, left foot steps back, lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Lift up onto your tippy toes, roll your shoulders forward. Good, look between your thumbs where you want the foot to go. Step it there, left foot goes forward. Good, again, if you need to grab the ankle, you can, or toe scooch. And then exhale, right foot steps forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, upward hand salute, and exhale the arms down by your side. Good. Any questions so far? You can drink some water if you need to. Nope. Okay, moving on. So from our downward facing dog, we're going to go right into our plank position. So remember that transition from down dog to plank. And then after that, we have 2 more poses that we're going to be learning after that. So we're going to go through a couple more rounds before we learn those last 2 poses. So let's start off at the top of the mat again. Feet hips distance apart, arms down by your sides, calves firm apart as the inner thighs squeeze. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, reaching tall. Exhale, fold in half, pinching from the hips with the hands come all the way down to the ground. Inhale, right foot steps back into lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up and smile. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders stack over the wrists. Pull the navel in as you come into your plank position. Good, nice. Exhale, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift up on the tippy toes. Step the right foot forward, right between the thumbs. There we go. A little bit more forward, Lauren, if you can. Yeah, perfect. Good, exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Reach tall. And exhale, the arms down by your side, mountain pose. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, left foot steps back. Lunge. Good. Exhale, stepping back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward into plank, shoulders over your wrists. Grip the ground with your fingertips. Yeah, smile. Good, exhale, downward facing dog. Lift up onto your tippy toes, shoulders over your wrists, step the left foot forward. Lunge, get it all the way there. Yeah, there it is. Looking up. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, upward hand salute. And exhale, circle the arms down by your side. Good. All right, go ahead and have a seat. We're going to learn the next 2 poses, which are going to come after our plank position. So these next 2 poses are known as knees, chest, chin, and Cobra pose. Okay, knees, chest, chin is it's a shorter position, and it's a lowering down from that plank. Think of that same transition that we were coming into from our push-up, okay, what we were doing for our push-ups earlier on. We're going to do something very similar to that for our knees, chest, chin. Don't worry, it's not a full push-up. We're not pushing up. We're just doing the lowering down process, okay? And then after that, we come into Cobra, which is a mild back bend, okay? This group of poses, knees, chest, chin, cobra to downward facing dog. These three poses are known as a vinyasa, okay? A vinyasa means to intelligently put together. And if you've been taking classes or have been doing anything online or at the SRC or wherever else you've been practicing, you may have been told or asked to come into your vinyasa, okay? Depending on your level of strength and flexibility, you may have been doing another variation of it. So that vinyasa might be chaturanga, which is a low push-up, okay? It's a lowering down from plank halfway, and then you go into an upward facing dog where you're in this back bend position. This is a little bit more advanced for what we're going to be able to do for this practice today, because I'm not able to see where everybody is, and I don't want to set you guys up for any possibility for injury, okay? Not that you can get injured from doing it improperly just one time, but if you continue to do it over and over again, you do start to wear on the body in different ways, and I want to make sure that you guys stay healthier that way. So we're going to be working on knees, chest, chin to cobra to downward facing dog for the purpose of this practice. But if you feel confident in your own practice and you'd like to do chaturanga to up dog to downward facing dog, by all means, you can do that on your own, okay? All right, so go ahead and just watch this for right now. We're gonna go from our plank position and we're gonna lower the knees down to the ground. Notice my knees are not underneath my hips, okay? My knees came straight down from where they were. They're actually pretty far back. Then I'm gonna flip my tail up like I'm in my cow pose, right? I'm gonna lean the chest forward. Oh, this sounds familiar. And now I'm gonna dip my chest down between my thumbs, okay? Similar to those push-ups that we were doing, right? Okay, the elbows are tucked in tightly and my chin is on the ground. The pose gets its name from the knees, the chest, and the chin being on the ground. Okay, makes sense. From here, we're gonna lower the hips down to the floor, okay? The tops of the feet are gonna be on the ground. So the toenail side or the shoelace side is gonna be touching down on the ground. You're going to lift your chest up, not the head. The head comes up, goes along for the ride. You're gonna lift the chest up, okay? So no nodding the head. Okay, we're gonna lift the chest up. It doesn't need to be too dramatic. It can be a good 2 inches or so, but I don't want you straightening out your arms and propping yourself up, okay? That's not a cobra pose. This is more of a strength building posture that we're gonna be working on, cobra. All right, so those elbows are tucked in tightly. We're gonna lower down. And from here, we're gonna transition back into downward facing dog. How you come into it is also rather important, okay? From our downward facing dog, we can either push up onto our hands and knees, curl the toes under and press back into down dog, or we can lower down and push up through plank and send the hips back, downward facing dog. What I don't want to see is the worm, okay? Where are you going? Okay, try not to do the worm. I can't do the worm, but you understand what I'm talking about, right? So we're not rolling and undulating the spine in this. I want you to feel strong that you're pushing the ground away from you, okay? So let's go ahead and come into this from downward facing dog. From your down dog, roll your shoulders forward over your wrists. Good, lower the knees down behind the hips. Nice, flip the tail up. Good, keep your toes on the ground. You're gonna lean the chest forward and aim your chest right between your thumbs so your elbows point up like little grasshopper legs. From here, lower your hips down to the ground. Tops of feet to the floor. Lengthen and pull your heart up 2 inches off of the ground. Let the head come along for the ride. Good, lower your chest down. Kiss the ground. Now push yourself back up into downward facing dog. Hips go all the way back. Very nice transition. All right, let's walk our feet forward to the top edge of the mat, and we're going to complete our full cycle of the sun salutation. Woohoo! All right, let's bring the hands all the way up. And exhale, arms down by your sides into your mountain pose. Okay. Standing in mountain pose, feet are actively pressing into the ground through all four corners of the feet. Squeeze the calves apart and firm the inner thighs together. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips and let the hands touch the ground. Inhale, right foot steps back, lunge, hips down, chest lift. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders forward over the wrists into plank. Exhale, lower the knees down, flip the tail up, chest and chin come down to the ground lightly. Inhale, cobra, hips down, feet to the ground, lift the chest. Exhale, bow forward and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward, bring it all the way there into lunge. Hips down, chest lift. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, lift all the way up with that flat back, hands to the sky, upward hand salute. And exhale, the arms down by your side, mountain pose. Good, you just did your first sun salutation. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, upward hand salute. Exhale, fold in half, tip it down. Inhale, left foot back, lunge, hips down, chest lift. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra, hips down, heart lifts. Exhale, bow and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward, bring it all the way, top edge of the mat. Smile as you look up. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Head is down. Inhale, lift up, hands to the sky, upward hand salute. Exhale, the arms down by your sides, mountain pose. Good, let's do 2 more rounds. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips and take it down. Inhale, right foot back, lunge. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward into plank, shoulders over wrists, legs are active. And then exhale, lower the knees, chest and chin to the floor softly. Inhale, hips down, chest lifts, cobra. Exhale, bow and take it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps forward, bring it all the way, top edge of the mat. Look up, smile. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come all the way up. And exhale, arms down by your sides. 1 more, inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, fold in half, hinge from the hips, tip it all the way down till belly touches thigh. Inhale, left foot back, lunge. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, bow, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, left foot steps to the top edge of the mat. Hips down, heart lifts, look up. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, circle the arms out and up, lift tall. And exhale, circle the arms wide and down by your side. Nice job, guys. All right, I want you to just pause here. Arms down by your sides and give your eyes a good close. See if you can just feel right now. Maybe you feel your heart beating in your chest. It's a good reminder that you're alive. Maybe you feel some tingling in the body, the energy surging through. Maybe you feel a bit of heat. And these are all things that relate to the sun. As we talked about the Ha and the Ta part of the practice, the Ha, the sun, represents that heat building, that stimulation, that energy, good, and that coming awake. Good. All right, from here we're going to transition our way down, but we're going to go through this roll down. So we're going to roll through the spine, tuck your chin to the chest. We did this last practice. Around through the upper back, just like a cat pose. Bend your knees until you feel your belly come down onto your thighs. Let the head hang down. And then very slowly, I want you to bend your knees and try to keep your heels down as you lower your hips down towards the heels. It may not stay down, that's okay, we're just working towards it. And then carefully lower your hips down to the floor. Try not to fall. Good. Okay, I'm going to change directions because the sun is creeping over here. All right, so let's come into our seated forward fold. So both legs are going to be out in front of us. The toes pull back. If you want your strap, you can use that. If you don't have your strap with you available today, you can always use your towel. Otherwise, you always have the option of bending your knees also. All right, inhale. If you're not using the strap or the towel, reach the arms up. Exhale, tip forward until your belly touches onto your thighs, and then grab a hold of whatever's there. Let your head relax down, and then see if you can glide your shoulder blades down away from your ears. Take a few deep breaths into low back, mid back. That space between the shoulder blades and the upper back, and all the way up into the brainstem. Good. Inhale, reach the arms forward and lift yourself all the way up. And exhale, circle the arms wide and down by your side. All right. Bend your right knee and let the knees spill out to the side. Keep your left leg straight out in front of you. This is head to knee pose. So just keep this in mind that we will be trying to repeat some of these poses, but it may not be a complete review every single practice, okay? Bring the belly button towards your left toes, and then inhale, bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, tip the weight forward, belly over the thigh, let the head come down, and relax your neck. Again, you also have the option of bending the knee here if keeping the legs straight causes you a lot of that distance between your belly and your thigh. Good, and then inhale, reach through the arms, lift yourself up. Exhale, release the arms down by your side. Switch the legs out, right leg forward, left knee bends, and let it spill off to the side. Turn your belly button in the direction of your right toes, and then inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward, belly over the thighs, the thigh, and then let the head come down. So the lines of energy that we're experiencing in this posture, it's almost like this circular effect that we're having. Feel as though your right heel is pulling back into the hip socket. So you're feeling that thigh bone suck back in, and you're feeling the drawing of the leg in towards your body. You might feel a little bit of that intensity as you work with that. And then through the upper body, lengthening this spine, inching your belly button forward as you allow the upper body to lengthen towards the toes. Okay, so you feel that pulling back on that right leg and then lengthening out through the upper body. Good. Inhale, reach the arms forward and lift all the way up. Exhale, release the arms down by your side. You can turn sideways on your mat, or if you don't have the space, you can always work with what you got. We're going to come into our seated wide leg forward fold. You want to have your heels on the mat if you are sideways. You may be sitting off the mat a little bit. Good. Flex at those feet and ankles, toes point up, hands either on the thighs or walking forward. Aim your belly button towards the ground. Good. Coming down with as flat as back as possible at first, and then you can round through the spine when your spine and your pelvis can go no further. Good. The seated wide leg forward fold. Feel your heels pressing out and away. Good. And then slowly inhale, lift yourself up. Good. Scoop the fingertips underneath your knees to the outside or the back side of them. Lean back as you bend your knees and draw your legs together. If you're sideways, spin yourself around so you're facing the front edge of your mat. Don't worry, we're not doing any more core work today. You did plenty with your planking. Hands to the back of your thighs. You're going to round through the spine and slowly slide the fingertips along the sides of the legs as you lower yourself down onto the mat. Tuck your right knee into the chest, wrap the hands around, and then lengthen your left heel out and away from you. Wind releasing pose. I want you to feel that length of that left leg and that squeeze of the right leg. And then let the knee travel across the body and all the way over to the left. Reach long through your right fingertips in the opposite direction of the knee. Feel your upper ribs, your right ribs, wrap towards the ground. And then feel your hips wrap in the other direction. Inhale, return back in through center. Exhale, left knee tucks in to meet the right. Inhale, send your right leg out in front of you into your other side for your wind releasing pose. Let the knee travel across the body over to the right and reach out through your left fingertips in the opposite direction. Again, we want to feel that the rib cage is spinning towards the left as the hips spin to the right. We're feeling this wringing out of the spine. Good. Inhale, return the knee back in through center. And exhale, both knees tuck into your body. Bring your forehead up to meet the knees, squeezing into a tight little ball. Good. And then lower your head and shoulders down. And then carefully extend your legs out in front of you, coming either into your corpse pose, Shavasana, with the legs fully extended out. Or if this is still bothersome for your low back, bending your knees, adjusting your pelvis, and then letting the knees collapse into each other lightly. And just start to make those minor adjustments, lifting the shoulders up and flattening them underneath you. Arms come down by your sides. The fingertips naturally curl in towards the palms. Close the eyes or place the towel across the eyes to give your sight an inward focus. Just take this opportunity to settle in, drop down, and ease your energy, feeling a little bit more of that experience of the practice, the moon, the passive, the receptive, the soothing and relaxing experience. This practice of the sun salutation is perfect for the times in which we want to warm up our body, and even warming up our mind in preparation for the day. It's an excellent way to warm up the body for our practice and future postures, but can be done on its own. But I recommend that you always try to balance that sun with the moon aspect. Give yourself that opportunity for the down regulation. Because just like getting too much sun exposure, you can get burned or burned out. Continue to breathe. Jack Kornfield once said, "Enlightenment is intimacy with all things." Each of us spins repeatedly from blindness to radiance, from dividedness to wholeness. And it is our impulse to stay in touch with all that is alive that keeps us from staying lost. It is the impulse to be intimate. It brings to mind the young blind French boy, Jacques Lucéron, who, in learning how to navigate his way among the other forms of life in its darkness, stumbled onto the secret of undivided living. Young Lucéron said, "It is more than seeing them. It is tuning in on them and allowing the current they hold to connect with one's own, like electricity." To put it differently, this means an end of living in front of things and a beginning of living with them. Never mind if the word sounds shocking, for this is love. To live things and not live with things and not in front of them. To no longer watch, but to realize that we are a part of everything we see. This is the love that keeps moving us back into wholeness when divided. To love by admitting our connection to everything is how we stay well. Allowing the current of another's inwardness to connect with our own is the beginning of both intimacy and enlightenment. Close your eyes and be still until you can sense the presence of things about you. Breathe softly and feel the current of their silence. Breathe evenly and open your heart to all that you sense. Feel the electricity of being that informs the world. And from where you are, take a full breath in. Exhale and release it fully out. Inhale again. And as you exhale, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Inhale. And as you exhale, circle out your wrists and your ankles. Good. Inhale, a big stretch. Hands reach all the way up to the sky. And then as far back behind you as possible. So you're stretching from fingers to toes, lengthening out. And exhale, release with a sigh. Arms circle wide and down by your side. Good. Gently curl your knees into your chest. Wrap the arms around. You're going to slowly tip over onto one side of your choice, either right or left. You're going to roll over onto that side and use your hands to press into the ground as you extend your top leg away from you. Rise up to a comfortable seat. And feel free to unmute yourself for the closing. Bring hands together at your heart center. Bow your head softly forward. I bow to the divine light within you. Namaste.